things don't always go as planned, right? We have plans, we have ideas. We grow up thinking we're going to be this, we're going to be that, we're going to accomplish this big thing. Tell God your plans and watch them laugh, right? We have to know when the door is closed, when another door is open, and when you should walk through. And you should never go against your dreams. We're going to talk about that more next. Nate Eppink, next on Dash of Grit.
This is a Dash of Grit. Recipes for success from courageous leaders who overcome challenges and build great things. Now, podcasting from Spire to leaders in local communities like yours, here is Brian Leflock.
And let's get cooking. So today I want to talk about something that a lot of people just don't like to talk about. A lot of people don't like to fail. A lot of people think that failure is bad, that failure is something to be ashamed of or to be hidden from. And once we reach a certain level of success, there were no failures, there were no missed opportunities, there were no screw-ups. I'm just perfect. And that's kind of what we want the world to think. And we all know, you and I both know at least, that that's not true. And so what we want to talk about today on Dash of Grit is failure with one of the most successful people I know, at least by my definition of success, and we can talk about that later if you like, is Nate Eppink. Nate is the director of the Medina County Park District, and I am thrilled to call him friend and a guest on today's episode of Dash of Grit. Welcome to the show.
Brian, thank you very much for the introduction. Delighted to have this conversation.
I am too, and I apologize. I don't always start a conversation by saying we want to talk about failure, and here's Nate Eppink.
What a segue.
Yeah, right? Sorry. But it's true. It's like, it's so often that we don't even want to pretend that it ever happened to us, or we don't want to know that it happened, or we don't want to admit that it happened. And it's a real part of everyone's life, especially if you're going to be successful. So we're going to talk about that. And Nate, first, let's talk about success. I am so enthralled with the Medina County Parks and all the things that are going on. I'm so excited about them, and I know you are too. Can you talk about the success and the things that are going well right now in the Park District before we get into the grit?
Yes. And I will preface this by saying there's a lot of great stuff, a lot of great things happening in the Park District that I can't take credit for. I inherited a really good park system, and I've been the director since October 1 of 2018. And I view my role as the person who gets to, kind of shepherd us through challenges and leave this place hopefully better than I found it, but set up the next leaders to succeed. We're in a space now where we've got over 7,000 acres that we manage. We've got 18 different open areas between parks and preserves and multi-purpose trails. But something that I'm really excited about and proud of is that just since 2019, we have preserved 490 acres in Medina County. And we've brought in $3.8 million in grants for land acquisition and restoration just since 2019. So there's a lot of momentum, and we're, collectively this small but mighty park district, I've embraced the underdog mentality. We're doing great things.
And I think sometimes, so at least in my world, you take your wife or your kids or your dog to the park and you enjoy a great day, and you don't give any thought to what goes on behind the scenes, the people behind the scenes, the leadership behind the scenes. What kind of challenges do you find? I know you're extremely humble and you give credit to the past, but there's certain things that you have to do and your team has to do to make my experience at the parks flawless, where I don't even think about you. What are those challenges?
Well, we have some jobs here that aren't too glamorous. We've got people who clean restrooms and people who do some trail work, and they get out there with the mower and the string trimmer and they get dirty to make sure that people have a safe, enjoyable park experience. I by nature of my position, I get to take credit for some of that work. But like I said, we've got fewer than 35 employees, and we all wear many different hats. One of the challenges now is planning for the future. As we grow, how do we staff the park district? How do we maintain staffing levels and equipment as we're opening new areas, as we're adding land? People have expectations when they come to our park district. We have so many people who use our parks regularly, sometimes daily. How do we maintain that standard as we grow? That's a big challenge.
Yeah, and a lot of when you think of customer service and experience, you think of like a Disney World, and I know that they take real great pride in the fact that you never see someone cleaning up; it's just always clean. You never have to tell someone the bathrooms aren't working; they're just always working. And there's a lot of skill and preparation and expertise that goes into that. You can't see it happening, but it's happening. And I really give you guys credit because I never see anybody at the parks. But man, they're always clean and well trimmed and well done and growing and well done. Good job.
Well, thanks. Yep, I'll be sure to pass that along to the staff because we've got some people. Here's a credit to the staff. We've got some folks here who have literally spent their entire careers. We're talking 32 and 34 years, and they're still on the payroll. They love it. Yeah. So that speaks volumes about the park district.
Yeah, and good for you in fostering that environment and that culture of wanting to make a difference and give back. And so that's fantastic. So I'm interested then, how did that come about? This requires leadership. This position that you have requires skills, and yet you had to earn those and kind of earn your way into this spot. And so let's talk a little bit about that as we get into the grit of this show. Tell me the struggles. It hasn't always been this easy, Nate.
No. And it's not easy now. It's just different. Yeah. The last year, especially with COVID and there's in some circles perceptions about public servants and public service. And, we face challenges, having to make decisions based on public health and funding and different things. So it's never easy. But it's interesting, you talk about failure and really, I've mentioned to you before that if I had planned my life, I certainly wouldn't be the director of Medina County Park District because I didn't go to school for this. I didn't know Parks and Recreation was a career path. I wanted to go into broadcasting originally. And I went to Cleveland State University. That was my backup school, but I studied communication. And I sought out several internships, and I had some radio experience and realized, it'd be hard to make a living in that field. And with the consolidation of stations and talent, and I sought out some other options. And I'm a big music fan, and one of my internships was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I thought, perfect, right? Well, I got to tell you, they do a nice job, but it was very corporate. And not the kind of environment that I was looking for. So I'm in grad school at this time, right? And I need a part-time job while I'm earning my master's degree. And I applied randomly for a part-time job at Cleveland Metro Parks in their marketing department. And this is coming off that Rock Hall internship. And I didn't get the part-time job, but instead they offered me an internship in their marketing department. And I said, I'll let you know. I'll think about it. So, I forget how old I was at the time, 22 or 24, but that's kind of bold for a quote unquote kid that age to say, let me think about it. I need some time. Well, it was the best decision I ever made. I said yes. And what started out as just a summer internship turned into a whole career. Yeah. I spent a year there, finishing up my degree, working as an intern. That was a springboard to my first real job in Parks and Recreation. I was with the Geauga Park District for 2.5 years working in marketing. And then from there, I moved to Akron. Had been to Akron 2 times my entire life. But I thought, I want a little bigger. I want that more of a city experience than Geauga County. So I moved to Akron to be the marketing guy for the Summit Metro Parks. Mm-hmm. And while I was there, I said yes to different opportunities and took on different challenges, right? So started out in marketing, managed some foundation and donor programs. By the end of my 13-year stint at Summit Metro Parks, I was overseeing the education division and public programs as well as marketing. But this is where we get into the failure part, right? This is what I know you really want to focus on here with the Dash of Grit podcast.
Okay.
I always wanted a little bit more. I like to push myself. I've got young kids, 11, 9, and 5, and I want them to know that dad worked hard and dad did some stuff.
Yes.
So I have wanted to, for the last, 5 years of my career before coming to Medina County, I had it in my head that I wanted to lead. I wanted to be a park director because I loved the mission of park districts here in Northeast Ohio. So I put myself out there and I applied for director jobs with different entities. And I lost out on all of them. I applied to be the director of Summit Metro Parks in 2015, and I was passed over. And I was kind of burned up about it, but I moved on. And then I applied for a park director job in Southwest Ohio and over in the Toledo area. And I either got an interview or didn't get an interview or only one interview, each time. And there was here's a dash of grit exclusive for you, right?
Yeah, I'm ready.
About 2016, 2017, I thought about leaving the career of Parks and Rec altogether because I didn't think I was going to achieve my dream. And I interviewed in downtown Cleveland for a corporate gig. And I walked out of there and called my wife right away and said, I hope they don't offer me the job because that's not me. It kind of made me focus on what's important and what I really wanted. So, I had put myself out there a number of times. And because I did that, I'll jump back for a second.
Yep.
The Ohio Parks and Recreation Association, OPRA. I'm on the board right now of OPRA. But they help different park districts throughout the state with director searches. And several of those jobs I had applied for, OPRA was involved in the search. So the director of OPRA, Woody Woodward is his name, he knew that I was looking for something, a chance to lead. And because I failed in those opportunities, he knew how to reach me over in Akron in Summit Metro Parks.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget this, Brian. There was a Monday in 2017 in September, where for whatever reason, I was just kind of beating myself up. I love and still do. I keep up with some of the people there in Summit, love the people there, love the job, but I just wanted something more. And I'm sitting at my desk on a Monday thinking, I ought to call Woody and ask what's happening in Medina County because I knew the director at the time, Tom James, had been there more than 20 years. I had figured he might be nearing retirement. I ought to call Woody and find out. And I'm not kidding. 10 minutes later, my phone rings. See, it still gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, my phone rings, and it's Woody from OPRA saying, Nate, I want to talk to you about the situation in Medina. OPRA has been engaged to help the park district find the next leader. Tom will be retiring in the next year. Would you like to apply to become his successor? Wow. And from there, I had to determine what would set me apart from other applicants. I've got the marketing background and I didn't go to school for this. So even in advance of the interviews, because there were several, I went on site visits in the parks. I took my kids to different playgrounds and I took notes. And I did research, reading board minutes and things, anything I could find online about mission and values, and really created this whole little packet of information to help me in the interviews because I was determined and I knew, based on past experiences, what type of organization, if I was going to lead it, what would be inspirational to me? What am I looking for? And everything seemed to line up. And I'm grateful that it seems like all of my past experiences and those failures led me here to where I really think I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, and let's talk real quickly about those failures. So you're going through. You've already kind of given up on your dream, the DJ thing and the broadcasting thing. You've given up on that. You are trying to figure out internships options, and you're not quite sure where you're heading. You fall into this park option.
Yep.
And you do a great job there, which makes you think you can do more. What caused all of the failures? Why do you think all of those positions said no, and when this one opened up, it was an automatic yes? What was the difference? What was that all about?
It's hard to say, really, and I like to say that I lucked into this profession, with a lot of the success that I've had, even before coming here, but certainly since. A lot of it is luck. You need hard work, but you need things to fall into place.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just kind of took stock of what was important to me, the kind of place I would want to work eventually. And, this has been reaffirmed recently during COVID when you kind of look inward and think about what's important. But my dad passed away in 2015. And I remember then thinking, okay, life is short. I want to make the most of it and take on as much and do as much as possible. So when the end comes, and hopefully it's a long time off, I can look back and my family can look back and say, wow, that guy worked hard. He did some good stuff and he kept going, that's just kind of my mindset. I mean, I get frustrated all the time and we fail, we still, not everything goes the way that you have planned, and that's okay. You find other ways to succeed and other paths. And that's what makes it interesting. If you won all the time, it would be boring.
Yeah. You just set up what you wanted and you'd go after it and be like, you'd be the New England Patriots. Who even care? I just show up and I win, that kind of thing.
Right.
Who wants that? Let me tell you what I'm thinking and see if this makes sense. Here's what I heard you say. I heard you say, I fell into this spot. I was enjoying doing it. And I decided I wanted to be a leader. And then I heard you say, you know what? It's not working at the parks. I'm going to go be a leader somewhere else. It was almost like, and you tell me if I'm wrong, and you can't get through the screen now and grab your hands around my neck, so I feel safe. It was almost like you just wanted to lead. You didn't know that it mattered where. I want to be this. I want to be a boss. I want to be a leader of people. And then you realized, you told your wife, honey, I can't do that corporate buttoned up suit and tie thing. And you all of a sudden realized that you loved and had a passion for the parks. Is there any sense there that as soon as you realized that it wasn't about being a leader, that it was about the passion and the dream and accomplishing something you really cared about, that all of a sudden everything lined up and went into place? Or am I barking up a wrong tree somewhere?
How much do I owe you for this therapy session? I mean, no, I think you nailed it. I mean, it's one thing to say you want to lead, but when you realize what's important to you and maybe how you want to lead, that's when things start to click. We've all worked for bosses that we loved, and maybe some that we haven't enjoyed working for. And you learn from all of those experiences. And then I tend to reflect and go, that person did this right, or I would do something differently. And that inspires you or inspires me. And I think you're right. When I realized what was important, that's when things kind of came together. And I've used the word boss in the last few seconds, but I have this mug that I regularly drink coffee from, and it says "like a boss," right? A former employee bought that for me because she knew that I disliked the word boss. I don't boss anybody around. We're all here in the workplace. We're all adults. One of my kids, my 9-year-old, when she was like 4 or 5, she says, "Oh, you get to be the boss. Do you get to beat on the desk and tell people what to do all day?" And I said, you know what? If that's what I did, no one would follow. So, that word boss, it's fine for a coffee mug, but if that's, how you lead, I just know that doesn't work for me. That goes back to what's important.
And were there ever any instances how did you learn that? Were there ever instances that you realized, holy cow, I'm hitting this wrong. I've got to be less of a quote unquote boss?
No, I don't think so. I've had a lot of great examples. Again, that goes back to seeing how others lead and maybe taking a lead from them. Mm-hmm. Learning by seeing and learning by, doing. If anything, early on, I struggled with maybe delegating and saying no. But I have told other new park directors that on day one, you will be challenged, and your favorite word for the first 6 months should be no. Because and often those challenges come from within. You need to get the lay of the land, figure out how things work, figure out why things are a certain way. And it's okay to say no. Your job as a leader isn't to make everyone happy. It's to do the job well. And as I said before, if I do the job well here, I'll make sure that the next leader will inherit a great park system and will be around for generations yet. So, that's something that I always come back to is, it's not about me. Yeah, I get praise and credit for some of the cool stuff we're doing, but this park district existed before I was born. Yeah. And has done a lot of great stuff before I joined the staff. I'm just lucky and I think very fortunate to be here now at the right place, right time to be involved in our success.
Yeah, and I love your attitude. And I think so many times people can't get out of their own way. They want something so badly that they keep on keeping on. And I think it shows grit to stick. Like everybody wants to climb the corporate ladder or get the next job or now I want to be the director of the Ohio State Parks or whatever it might be. But I see your passion here for Medina and for what is it? How do you're a driven guy and yet you want to be here. It doesn't mean forever, but right now, this is enough for you. Does that cause any concern for you, not necessarily looking for the next step? Or are you just so freaking fortunate and happy that you just want to do everything you can here?
Yeah, I don't want to make your listeners disgusted, but yeah, I'm freaking fortunate, as you said.
I think that's cool.
And I love it. And so,
how do you get that? So here's where the grit comes in. This is what I mean by grit, because not everybody is. I wake up every morning going, okay, what's next? And then I dive into what I'm currently doing and I'm perfectly happy. But there's this ego thing that drives me like, okay, what are you going to do today that's different and better? Yeah. I think people struggle with that. What can you teach folks about the grit of just sticking?
Well, I was in my last position in my last park district where I got a lot of experience. I was there for 13 years. I'm eligible to retire in less time than that now. But I won't because my son will only be in high school and that's not happening.
Right.
So here's what I love about Medina County and the position I'm in and the park district right now, and why, if I'm fortunate enough, I will spend the rest of my career here. Every day is a little bit different. And we have the opportunity. Yeah, there's nowhere else for me to climb on the ladder, the corporate ladder, so to speak here. But there are so many different projects, and it's the idea of a new project. It's the idea of a new acquisition, new property to save or land to restore that is inspirational. That provides the energy. I have maybe in my 3.5 years with the park district, maybe had 2 or 3 days where I wasn't looking forward to coming in the next day. And that was always because of maybe a staffing issue or a failure. I gotta figure out how to resolve this now. But by and large, if you find something that can inspire you, something that you're passionate about, that old adage about, if it doesn't feel like work, that's the kind of career you want to find yourself in. That's where I am. So Medina County, you're new to the county. I'm new to the county. I've joked before that some folks have said, if you haven't lived here 40 years, you're still new to the county. So I've got a ways to go.
And those people will have been here an additional 20 years. And so it'll move up to 60, just so you know.
But, there is so much and development's not a bad thing, but there's so much development in the county now that the openness is getting replaced by commercial and residential development. Sometimes we work with developers and that relationship makes a lot of sense, but the challenge, the opportunity, the passion comes into play here by, looking at the perception of the park district and the role we play. I think a lot about I put on my marketing hat from years ago. Mm-hmm. If there's any one entity in Medina County that's going to preserve the openness, the rural flavor, I like to think that it's us. It's the park district. And we're not after every available parcel or every farm field. We're after those natural areas that can help form connections. It's the woods and the wetlands, in communities where maybe we don't have a presence or we're looking to add on to existing parks. That challenge, putting together the puzzle pieces, that's what inspires me and keeps a lot of us, excited to come into work every day. Because we're working on legacy projects that future generations will enjoy. They probably will never know our names, but they'll benefit from our work. That's pretty awesome, and not too many people can say that.
Yeah. And so let's talk about those benefits and those futures and things of that sort. There's all kinds of things on the horizon for the Medina County Park District. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering specifically, what types of hurdles do you think you'll face in accomplishing your goals? Where are you going to need some grit moving forward as the director of the parks?
The biggest hurdle is making sure we don't get in our own way.
Yes.
I've made a lot of promises publicly that project A, B, C, D, all the way through probably N, it will be completed by 2025. So, and my reasoning is there's a lot of excitement, and I'm excited if you couldn't tell. And I don't want people to wait too long to be able to enjoy a new trail or experience a new piece of property. So it comes down to project management. We've got great people here, knowledgeable people who are dedicated, but we need to manage projects in a way that we don't get in our own way, and that we can follow timelines and certainly not a lack of public support. It's not a lack of interest. We've got people throughout the county. I can't go anywhere without someone telling me about their favorite park or their favorite trail or how they take their dog here every day. There's a lot of interest in what we do, a lot of pride in the park district, people willing to make donations. And there's an individual now who's in the process of donating more than 180 acres to the park district at no cost. And the property is gorgeous. So our challenge is, I've told this person that I'd like for her to be involved in the planning of what that property, what that preserve will become. How do we facilitate that and get it all done, so she can still in her lifetime see people enjoy it the way she and her family have enjoyed it. That's why she's making the gift. So it's an excellent problem to have, but just I guess kind of managing all the goodwill, all the grants, and all the projects. That's our biggest hurdle.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity to mess it up too, and you want to take advantage of every single opportunity. We're going to return with Nate in just a second. Nate Eppink, director of the Medina County Park District. Quick commercial for Spire Marketing, and I'm going to use you, Nate, as a little bit of an analogy. The reason marketing people like Nate fall in love with leadership opportunities and making a difference for their organization is because real marketing people fall in love with the businesses they're serving, and the drive that they're trying to accomplish, and the goals, and they fully dive in. And it's not about, what kind of ad do I create? Do I run an AdWords, or do I run a radio commercial? It's about, how can I make this company succeed? And a marketing person just automatically becomes a leader. And so if you're looking for an agency that thinks that same way, that's Spire. We like to get down deep and dirty with you in trying to accomplish the overall goals of your company. And then the structure of the ads and the marketing and the branding takes care of itself. So if you're looking for a company like that, that's mine, and that's Spire Marketing. And you can reach us and see us at spiread.com. Nate Eppink, director of Medina County Fair, not Fair District. You've probably been to the fair quite a bit of times, but the Park District. If someone wanted to talk to you more about the parks, or donating land, or being a volunteer, or just about your history of growth and the things that you shared with us, how would they reach out to you?
Well, we're available online, so certainly someone could go to our website and learn all about the different parks and preserves and trails. If they want to reach out to me individually, as you know, Brian, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. I invite anyone to follow the progress that we're making in the Park District by connecting with me and the parks on social media. There's been a lot of good stuff the last few years, and there's a lot more to come.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that information. I hope people will dig in and learn more about the parks, and definitely go and take advantage. And if you're not in Medina, go and take advantage of the parks in your backyard. There's so many of them. You probably don't even know they're there, or you don't realize the opportunities that are there for you in most communities, and you really should, because that's having fun on nature is kind of what life is all about. So, Nate, thank you for being a part of the show. I mentioned to you earlier the definition of success, and I think you fit it to a T. I don't know if I've ever said this on the show before, but I feel the definition of a successful person is someone who has a dream and hasn't given up on it yet. And I think your vision for the parks and what you see you can do for people and for the community and for the overall for the earth, I think you have a dream for that, and you haven't given up. And I think that's about as successful as anyone can get. So congratulations.
Thanks. I'm not often that I'm speechless, but I am right now. I appreciate that.
Well, I don't want to make you speechless, because that makes for a terrible podcast. No one wants to hear me talk about it. But we are. Now's the time to be speechless, because we are wrapped up. Thank you very much, Nate Eppink, Director of the Medina County Park District, for being a guest on A Dash of Grit. I can't thank you enough for being a part of the show.
Thanks, Brian.
This is Dash of Grit, folks. We do this every week without fail, and you can always find a new episode. You can see people like Nate on YouTube and hear us on Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts. It's also on dashofgrit.com. There's all kinds of smart and wonderful and successful people like Nate that you can take a listen to their shows in the past as well. Until we do this again next week, have a great week. Win the day. Stay gritty. See you later.
This is A Dash of Grit. Recipes for success from courageous leaders who overcome challenges and build great things.